Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to do kind of an introduction to 4-6. This isn't exactly 4-6, but it will get you ready for 4-6 because 4-6 just jumps right into word problems and nobody wants to go there this quickly. So I call this 12 exciting examples. Yeah, I thought that was cute. Yeah. No? Not working for, okay. All right. So here we go. What we're going to be needing to do here is we're going to have to take an equation that's written in slope-intercept form and graph it just using slope-intercept form. Now, one thing you could do is what you did back when you were younger. You could make an XY chart like this. And you could pick values for x, like -1, 0, and 1. You could substitute them into the equation. -1 times -2 is +2, and +2 plus 3 is +5. And then we would substitute 0 in. -2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 3 is 3. And then we would substitute 1 in for x. -2 times 1 is -2. -2 plus 3 is +1. And then we would go over here. Then we would graph the points. -1, 5 would be right here. 0, 3 would be right here. And 1, 1 would be right here. And then we would watch Mrs. Williamson try to draw a straight line with a graphic design tablet, which is not happening. And you would graph the line. Okay? But if you know your way around a slope-intercept form, you don't need this anymore. Okay? Here's how you do it. We know that this number is the y-intercept. We know that our line is going to cross the y-intercept at 3. Notice it does. Okay. We know it's going to cross at 3. So what we can do is we could go ahead and put a point there. Okay? We know our line has a point there. Now, in order to draw a line, we need 2 points. Okay? So what we would do is we would use the slope. All right, this is a slope of -2. All integers have 1s underneath them, okay? This is directions to the next point, all right? The top number tells you up or down. This number says down 2. The bottom number tells you left or right. Positive tells you right 1, right, the number 1. So if you start at this point, now don't start at the origin, that's not right. You have to start at the y-intercept point, and you go down 2 and right 1, you'll get a second point. Do you remember we graphed 1, 1? That's right here. Now, one interesting thing here, when you have a negative slope, that means one or the other of the numbers are negative. In this example, we had the negative on the top number, but we could put the negative on the bottom number if we wanted to or possibly needed to. Okay, then what we would have, the top number tells you up or down, so a +2 is up 2. The bottom number tells you left or right, and -1 is left 1. Okay, if you have trouble keeping this straight, look, the numbers to the left of the origin are negative. The numbers down are negative. Okay, left and down is negative. Right and up is positive. Okay? So let me get back to my point though. If we had decided to put the negative with the bottom number and we started at the point at the y-intercept, we would go up 2 and left 1, which was that point. So we would have been able to draw this whole line without having to solve an equation 3 times. And if you get good at this, at graphing a line with slope-intercept form, it goes pretty darn fast. Let me show you another example. Here, our y-intercept is +2. So we're going to put a dot on the y line at +2. Remember, this is called the y-intercept. A common mistake kids make is they'll put it on the x-axis. Don't do that. It goes on the y-axis. Then we have a slope of 4/5. Both of these numbers are positive. So the top number says go up 4, and the bottom number says go right 5. Okay. Well, up 4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Right 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's another point on our line. Okay. And then you could go ahead and you could draw that one. Now here's the thing. when you have a fraction that's a negative over a negative, most of you know that's equal to a positive, okay? Most of you know that reduces. Could we have graphed our next point using a negative over a negative? Well, let's see how it works. This would say go down 4, and this would say go left 5. If we had started here and gone down 4 and left 5, would that have fallen on the line? It would if Miss Williamson could draw a straight line. It definitely would be on the line. So I want you to know that when you have a positive over a positive, if, say, for example, it would take you off of the graph, you can make it a negative over a negative to stay on the graph. Don't worry, you'll have lots of examples of this. Next. Okay. This is one where you guys frequently get confused about this because there's no number in front of the x, and a lot of you think that means it's a 0. No, if there's no number in front of a variable, that number is 1. So our slope in this equation is 1. Well, can we do 1 over 1? We need a rise and a run to graph this. So we can. This is positive, so it's up 1. This is positive, so it's right 1. Likewise, we could do negative 1 over negative 1. And then we would have down 1, left 1. But let's start with our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is at positive 3, which is right here. Put a dot on the y line at positive 3. From here, if we use this slope, we need to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. And using this slope, we would go down 1, left 1. Ooh, look at, she almost went 2. And you can keep going too. You can go down 1, left 1 again, down 1, left 1 again, up 1, right 1 again, up 1, right 1 again. And you can do this all the way across your graph and still draw a very wiggly line. Pretty cool, right? Okay. Next. And this always confuses kids too. Remember, if there's a negative sign in front of the x, that is a slope of negative 1 over 1. So our slope is negative 1. If it's negative, only one of the numbers is negative. You can choose top one or bottom one, but only one of them can be negative. So this one would be down 1 and right 1. Remember, down and left is negative, up and right is positive. If you switch your negative to the bottom number, then you would have up 1, left 1. Okay. So let's graph our y-intercept of 3. We're using 3 a lot, aren't we? It seems weird. I didn't realize all these had 3s for y-intercepts. We can use this one, go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. And we can use this one, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. And then, now another thing that will help you here when you're graphing these, if you're unsure if you're following these directions right, ask yourself, what would slope dude say about this line? It says a negative slope. So slope dude would be saying this is nice negative. It has to go downhill from left to right. That's how you can check and make sure you graphed it right. See if we can get to one that doesn't have a 3 for a y-intercept. Oh, goody. Here's a new y-intercept for us. All right. It says we have a negative 7 halves slope. So if we have negative 7 halves, we can choose if the negative goes to the 7 or if it goes to the 2. But remember, with a negative slope, only one of the other numbers can be negative. If they were both negative, it would be a positive slope. Our y-intercept is negative 5. So we put a dot on the y line at negative 5. Now, what are these directions? The top number is up or down, and negative means down. The bottom number is left or right, and positive means right. The top number is up or down, and positive means up. The bottom number is left or right, and negative means left. So from this point, I can't go down 7 and right 2. I would go off the graph. All right, that's why it's important for you to know that with a negative slope, you can put the negative on the top number or the bottom number. It's up to you, whatever one works best for your graph. In this graph, we're going to have to use this one. So we go up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then left 2. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one to draw. There's a very long stretch in between points. I'm terrible at this. But you would use this, a ruler or something. Yeah, you would. Okay. All right, so number 6, we have a slope of -2. So that means we have -2 over 1, okay? -2 over 1 could also be written as +2 over -1. Sorry, interruptions. The top number tells us up or down, so a negative is down. The bottom number tells us left or right, and the bottom number is positive, so that's right. The top number tells us up or down, positive is up. The bottom number tells us left or right, so the bottom number is negative, so it's left. Our y-intercept is -1, so we put a dot on the y-line at -1. Okay? From the y-intercept, remember, not from the origin, from the y-intercept, we can go down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Alternatively, we could go up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1. And that gives us this line. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So, and then you can check yourself and say, well, what would Slope Dude have said about this line? This has a negative slope. So this line should be a nice negative. Would this be a nice negative from left to right? It's a pretty scary negative, actually, I think, because it's pretty steep. But yes, it would be a nice negative. So we expect that to be negative. And so we feel pretty good about what we graphed. Okay. All right, number 7. We have a -9/2 slope, which means we could put the negative with the 9, or, oh gosh, she screws it up. You knew that was going to happen eventually. I can't do anything perfect. All right, it's a negative slope, so only one of the numbers gets to be negative, okay? All right, sorry, somebody came in the room. Hang on, so I get distracted. Hang on just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's a negative slope, so only one of the numbers can be negative. We get to decide, do we want the top one to be negative or the bottom one? It's up to us. Top number tells you up or down. A negative is down. The bottom number tells you left or right, so it's positive, so it's right. The top number tells you up or down. Positive is up. The bottom number tells you left or right. It's negative, so we're going to go left. Those are our directions. Where's our starting point? Our starting point is right here at +4. So on the y-line, where is +4? It's right here. Okay? So our slope tells us we'll follow this one first. Down 9, right 2. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right 2. Oh boy, this is going to be hard to draw. This one would tell us to go up 9, left 2. But we're not going to be able to do that. No, we're not. So we're just going to have to hope that these two lines are in the right place. We'll check it with Slope Dude. Oh, I think that's my worst line so far. There we go. Okay. And with Slope Dude, it's a nice negative. Well, it's negative, all right, but I don't know about how nice it is. That's pretty bad. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to graph a few of these yourself. Okay, I want you to do 8, 9, and 10. Don't do 11 and 12 because I'm going to do 11 and 12. But I want you to do 8, 9, and 10, and you're going to do those in class, and I will look at them and see that you're doing them correctly. Okay, so here's 8, here's 9, and here's 10. Those are for you to graph. Okay, I am going to go and show you 11 and 12 because they're oddballs. Okay, so if you're in class, you can finish watching the video and then you do 8, 9, and 10 for me and raise your hand and I'll come look at them. If you're not in class right now, tomorrow when you come to class, I will give you the paper and ask you to graph 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so everybody's going to do it on paper and pencil. But this one is an interesting one. This is y equals -4, okay? Y equals -4. The thing you might be noticing is that there's no x, okay? This is one of those lines that the x is missing. Why is the x missing? Because it was a slope of 0. Okay, this is what the equation would have looked like with the x in there. But 0 times x made this go away, and we ended up with this line. Okay, well, if we have a y-intercept of -4, that's here. And a line with a slope of 0, what would that look like? Well, it would be a horizontal line at y equals 4. Because remember, Slope Dude said this is 0 fun. This is 0 fun. It would be a horizontal line. Okay? So anytime you have y equals a number, you have a horizontal line. So what do you think you're going to have when you have x equals a negative number? Exactly. You're going to have a vertical line. You go along the x-axis and you find where -5 is, and you put a dot. Where else would x be -5? Well, wouldn't this be the point -5, 1? And wouldn't this be -5, 2? And -5, 3? And -5, -1? -5, -2. All of the points along this line have -5 for their x coordinate. So anytime you see x equals a number, you have a vertical line. All right, it has an undefined slope. So we don't say 0 slope for this, we say undefined. It's so slopey we can't even describe it. And that brings me to the end of my video today. Like I said, if you're watching this in school, you have the worksheet. If you're watching it at home, I will give you the worksheet tomorrow, okay? In the meantime, there is a secret word assignment associated with this video. And when you read the question, and it's like a trivia question, okay? So this is a real thing. But I'm telling you that the answer to the trivia question is roasted hedgehog livers, and it's multiple choice. So you just have to pretty much remember roasted hedgehog livers, and you'll be able to find the correct answer, okay? All right, I hope you had as much fun graphing lines as I did, and I will see you guys in class. Didn't pause. Okay, I will see you guys in class.